June 23rd, 2015, Rocksteady released the final game in their Arkham trilogy, Batman Arkham Knight. Fans had been waiting since 2013 for another Arkham title, and since 2011 for another Arkham game developed by Rocksteady, the studio that developed the first game in 2009. Arkham Asylum released in August 2009 for the Xbox 360 and PS3 and completely changed the superhero genre in video games. Developing amazing visuals, combat, environment, story, Warner Brothers had finally been able to release a Batman game that made you feel like you were him. They followed this up by releasing a sequel in 2011, Batman Arkham City, improving and building upon everything that they had in the original game. This time they gave the player a bigger map, more villains, more heroes, improved combat, better gliding. It felt like Rocksteady had improved everything and made the perfect sequel. The improvement in gameplay was complemented with an incredibly captivating story. A story so good that fans needed to see how it all came to an end in Rocksteady's final Batman game, Batman Arkham Knight. When the game finally launched, not everything was perfect. The game did have issues on PC, and some gameplay and story decisions by Rocksteady did not go down well with fans as perfectly as they would have hoped. But the game is still very much loved by fans and critics alike. Graphically, the game looks incredible, and the polish on gameplay is so good that people still play this 10-year-old game today. It can even be argued that this game is still better than most games that came out now. The reason I talk about the Arkham games in a Gotham Knights video is because WB now has the unfortunate problem that many studios and publishers have when they make something as beloved as those games, and that problem is people's expectations. Whether it's the fans' expectations, shareholders, or whomever, when you have something as successful as Batman Arkham, you simply just can't let it die. It's too successful, too beloved, too well known. The Arkham games became very important to the fiscal success of WB Games. You see, the release of Arkham Knight meant that Rocksteady would no longer make Batman games for the near future, instead focusing on other projects which at the time were unknown. However, this left a huge hole for Warner Brothers games to fill. They couldn't just let one of their biggest characters sit on the bench, but which studio would they assign to develop the next game? A subsidiary of Warner Brothers Games, WB Games Montreal, was founded in 2010, and the studio was tasked with making the Wii U version of Arkham City in 2011, which allowed them to become familiar with the Unreal Engine 3, and this was their first step into the Arkham-verse, their first of many. In 2013, there was a gap between the release of Arkham City in 2011 and the eventual release of Arkham Knight in 2014. You see, Rocksteady needed more time for the release of their final Arkham game, and Warner Brothers did not want to go so many years without a release of another Batman game, as the fans were craving for one. So to compromise, you would get another Arkham Batman game, but it will not be developed by Rocksteady, which meant that fans would have to wait a little longer to get a true sequel to Arkham City. Instead, the project would go to Warner Brothers Games Montreal. This time, it's not just making one version of the game, but making the full AAA title. Due to the limited dev time, Rocksteady shared a lot of game elements with Warner Brothers Montreal to ensure that they had the support they needed to release a fantastic Batman game. This is important to note as Rocksteady had already done a lot of the heavy lifting, and what I mean by that is Warner Brothers Montreal didn't have to revolutionize much. Fans just wanted another Arkham game. New stories, some new gadgets, you get the point. They just wanted a new Arkham game that gave them the excuse to explore the world all over again. Well, they ended up getting a little more than just that. To not mess with what Rocksteady were building in Arkham Knight, Montreal decided to make a prequel Batman game. This would also give them some creative freedom when telling their story. While Rocksteady's support was important, WB Games Montreal still tried to make this game their own. The story was inspired by the comics Batman Legends of the Dark Knight and Batman Year One, and was developed with input from writer Jeff Johns as they wanted to explore certain aspects of the Batman character, such as his vulnerability and lack of experience. Batman Arkham Origins released on October 25th, 2013 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the Wii U, to good reviews. However, the company received a significant amount of criticism for failing to conduct proper testing on the game before release and refusing to address a number of game-breaking bugs that plagued the title when it launched. It didn't have the same impact the Rocksteady games did, but it was a solid game and with its own cult following. A video will be made going into further detail about the making of this game in the future. Next was the release of Batman Arkham Knight in 2015. The game actually ended up getting delayed by 1 year as it was supposed to come out in 2014. However, rightfully so, the game was given more time to ensure a quality product. Just like with Origins, a separate video will be made about this game. With the Rocksteady trilogy finally coming to a conclusion, fans were eager to find out where everything was was going to go next. In 2016, a promotional video posted on Warner Bros. Games' Facebook was discovered, and an announcement was going to follow at the VGA of that year. But the reveal was pushed back due to shakeups at WB Montreal. We didn't hear much about this until 3 years later, as in 2019, a user on 4chan leaked concept art of Project Sabbath. The player would play as Damian Wayne, now Batman, who fights crime in a rundown Gotham City. The city falling on hard times due to both increased crime due to Batman's absence and economic recession, as the fortune of Bruce Wayne, which previously funded various humanitarian and charity funds, ceased. The game would have featured the Nemesis system by Monolithic Productions and the Batbike/Batcycle as a mode of traversal. Some characters would have included Damian Wayne as Batman, donning a Batman Beyond inspired bat suit, red eyes, and a bat emblem, Two-Face as the Judge, Gorilla Grodd, elderly Bruce Wayne, middle-aged Dick Grayson, and more. Being developed by WB Games Montreal, Project Sabbath was due to be the 5th entry in the Arkham-verse mythos, and was to serve as a sequel to the 4th game in the series, Batman Arkham Knight. Project Sabbath was set 10 years after Arkham Knight in a Batman Beyond inspired near future. This leak was the only evidence of this game, and unfortunately it was also revealed that in 2017 this game was cancelled. Game elements were recycled into other projects instead, however. So after the cancellation of the Damian Wayne game, WB Montreal turned their resources to the creation of Gotham Knights, taking some of the elements from the cancelled project and using them here. After the Damian Wayne leaks and cancellation of the game, further leaks occurred in 2019 of another game. Warner Bros. Marketing material was leaked onto the site suggesting that at E3 of that year, they were going to announce a brand new DC game featuring online multiplayer, loot, and team-focused gameplay. This caused almost everyone to think that they were going to announce a live service Suicide Squad game similar to Destiny and Fallout 76. Again, things would leak, but fans wanted a full reveal and an announcement from the company. And in 2020, fans got exactly that. The DC fandom event, Warner Bros. Games Montreal revealed Gotham Knights. The game was originally planned to release for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox One, and the Series X in 2021, but was actually delayed to 2022. And then the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions were later cancelled. A comic book limited series titled Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City serves as a tie-in and a prequel to Gotham Knights, exploring Batman's final case before his death. It was released on October 25th, the same year, with subsequent issues releasing monthly. Each issue of the limited series came with a code for an in-game item, as well as a 7th item to give to those who purchased all 6 issues of the comic book. After the game released on October 21st, 2022, Gotham Knights received mixed or average reviews from critics. Game Informer praised the game for its co-op gameplay, but criticized its mission objectives, combat, and side activities. GameSpot similarly criticized the game's story and the focus on its loot system, while bemoaning the game's objectives for lacking variety, praised the co-op gameplay and the characterization of its 4 leads. And IGN felt that the game was a poor follow-up to the Batman Arkham series. They praised the costume upgrade options, but felt that the combat was too underwhelming to justify the game's focus on grinding. Overall, fans had their expectations lower for this game compared to the other game announcement at the same event. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Overall, fans had their expectations lower for this game compared to the other game announced at the same event. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, mainly due to the other game being made by Rocksteady, and that game is another story for another video. Fans who got the game on day one experienced a Gotham Knights that was buggy. Since then, Gotham Knights has received some patches, making it more enjoyable. However, comparing them to an Arkham game will only cause disappointment for players. It's about to be 2 years since this game came out, so Gotham Knights should have some sales for players to get at a discounted price. On Xbox, it's included with Game Pass, and on PlayStation, it's included with PlayStation Plus. Not bad value, especially since it's a co-op game. Looking back, the lowered expectations matched with the issues Suicide Squad had at launch, and still has, proves that the eventual winner out of the 2 games was in fact Gotham Knights. But that's a spoiler for a future video.